Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film, The Hangover Part III. The Wolfpack are back together again to find Ken Jeong, who owes $21 million to John Goodman, which he stole away from him. And John Goodman's character has stolen Justin Bartha, who unfortunately will never get to really be part of the Wolfpack during a Hangover movie, and has been kidnapped. And to get him back, they have to find Shang and hopefully get back John Goodman's $21 million. The Hangover Part III is awful. It's an awful movie. I don't like it at all. I don't see how anyone could like it. The whole idea of it is a lot like Iron Man 3, where Iron Man 3 takes a lot of the ideas that you didn't like in Part 2 and tries to make a better movie. Now, this was a lot less successful than Iron Man 3, and I don't mean financially, I mean artistically it was a lot less successful, because in The Hangover Part 3, the complaint about Hangover Part 2 was that it was too much like The Hangover. It was just The Hangover, but bigger and louder and stupider and not as good. And so The Hangover Part 3 is like, hey, let's do a whole different concept, you know, let's not do the same thing all over again. You kind of wonder why it's even called The Hangover. I noticed on a lot of the posters, Part 3 is bigger than the title The Hangover. No one's really hungover. They're just kind of on this adventure. It's kind of just a bad action kind of comedy. Identity Thief seems really inspired compared to this. I've never really liked Todd Phillips. He was a comedy director, you know, he did Old School, he's done all 3 Hangover films, he did Due Date. He was kind of the director of the Frat Pack, as they were called. He was pre-Apatow, and he's managed to stick around because of the success of the Hangover movies. I've heard critics before bring up that he directed a G.G. Allin documentary to do kind of darker stuff, and I guess this is trying to be a darker Hangover movie that's not as funny, which I don't really understand why you'd want to make a sequel comedy that kind of is supposed to turn the audience off, and it definitely turned me off. I mean, I never really loved the first Hangover, but it would make me chuckle a few times, and The Hangover Part 3 just is really vile and terrible, and I don't really get what the point of doing a third one is other than financial, and it gives it kind of an ugly, hollow feel about it. Even John Goodman, who's an actor I love watching, I didn't like that much in this. And I wonder, like, why is Bradley Cooper doing this? You know, he was in Silver Linings Playbook, he got an Oscar nomination, like, isn't he a lot bigger now? Does he need the money that badly? I guess they're kind of just building their retirement funds. This just didn't have anything interesting really about it. It's like one of the worst Hollywood productions, and probably the thing that people hate about Hollywood when you hear people complain about a big budget, you know, huge movie. I mean, this is a film to really hate. You can tell you have a particularly crap movie when you're thinking about how horrible Hollywood is that they'd make something like this. It's fine when I see something like Fast 6, and I'm sure those people are, you know, not the greatest human beings either, but the fact is I was entertained with Fast 6, so I'm not thinking about that. And with The Hangover 3, I'm thinking about, like, wow, I wonder how much they got paid, you know? Why did Bradley Cooper did this? How much? How long did they shoot it? That's like all I'm thinking about. You know, it was hard to even come up with an idea to review this movie. Like, I don't have a way to talk about its structure, because honestly it just felt like once one thing ended, they're like, how can we keep this going? It didn't feel like it had much of a structure. I was starting to like Bradley Cooper, and now I have an adverse reaction to him after this one. All Ed Helms does in these movies is scream and just get repulsed by what's going on. I always looked at The Hangover as a movie that idiots thought was a great comedy. It kind of took the place of something like Caddyshack used to have years ago. And I like Caddyshack a bit more. I don't think either are great comedies, you know, although Caddyshack's fun. This is kind of taking the place of Caddyshack 2, is a movie nobody wants to watch. The thing about The Hangover, the first one, is it was an unexpected hit. Nobody expected it to do as well as it did. It did extremely well, and anytime you have a surprise hit, the idea is, let's make as many fucking sequels as we possibly can. Look at Rocky, look at Jaws. We're so happy when we get The Hangover, that kind of a movie that's different, a breath of fresh air to an audience. I didn't feel that way, but that's why The Hangover did so well, is it was so different. Everyone was like, oh my god, this is a different kind of movie. And anytime you get a film that's different from the usual Hollywood fare, you end up getting sequel after sequel that becomes typical cliche Hollywood. So it's like almost like our penance for liking something different from the studio system is we have to get rewarded with sequel after sequel. I hope this is fucking over. This is the worst summer movie I've seen this year because I just hate it. So if you have unfortunately seen The Hangover Part 3 and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. You know, I didn't do Before Midnight, but I saw The Hangover Part 3. Because in all fairness though, I had seen the other Hangover movies, but I hadn't seen those other Before movies, which, saying it out loud, is far more depressing than I ever thought it would be. I should have seen Before Midnight. Now I wish should I have just seen Before Midnight? I should have. Oh, I hate myself now.